So the next thing we're going to talk about is tables. So tables are kind of one of those things that it is not really widely used as much as it used to be, but a lot of emails use them for formatting codes in your email or formatting your code in your email. A lot of times, if you're working with data, specifically with data, you would use tables. So you should be aware of how to use them. But you may not use them very often, but you should know how they work. So that being said, let's open up a table tag. So we have a table, right? And inside, how it works is, I'm going to draw a little bit here. So I'm going to make a quick, sweet table here. And we got our rows and our columns. So this is when you define the whole table, that is the whole thing. And then each row of our data, which is going this way, is defined inside that. So TR. And then each one of these are TD because they are table data, right? And then the very first one, which I will make a different color. So let's grab blue. This is going to be our table header. So these is our table header. That's a really long H. And then I'll do a separate one here. So those are our table headers. And then the other parts are going to be defined with table data. So these are our TDs. TD, and then the whole thing's a table. All right. So let's actually get that coded. So I'm going to exit out of this. So inside we are going to do our TR, which is our table row, right? And then inside of that is our table headers. And for this, let's do a couple movies. So let's say movie, and we'll do TH with, want to do director or you want to do actor? Let's do directors. Director, and we'll put a TH with actor, and then one more. Well, I think that's actually pretty good. Or we could do, yeah, no, that's fine. That's plenty of data. So we got movie, director, actor. All right, and then then our next row. So you make sure you do it into another row. We will put our information. So we'll do TD inside of that, and it'll be in the same order as the top one. So let's say TD, and we'll do what is a good movie? Let's say Iron Man 2. So Iron, I know I said good, but that's subjective. But so let's do TD and TD. Let's hope it didn't close it. So a director, let's say Jon Favreau. How do you spell your name, Favreau? I think it's no R. Let's go like that. Favreau. And then we'll do an actor in it, which Robert Downey Jr. So we save, and then now we have that. Now it looks pretty sloppy, but you get the general. See how it's kind of separate? You see the little space there? Let's do a couple more. So I'll do TR. Ooh. And I'm going to pause and just kind of skip it. So I skipped ahead, so you didn't actually have to watch me struggle through typing these out. And you notice how when there is spacing, it automatically keeps it even. So I wanted to see how something long like this, Albert and Alan Hughes, see how it automatically spaced the whole thing out. So it kept it in a table. Now what we could also do to see this is you can actually add a style. So let's say I added a style, which we haven't really covered yet, but just stick with me for now. And then we added in table, TH, TD, and we put border 1 pix solid black. And what it does, and now you can actually see it actually looks like a full-on table. So if I actually typed this all out and had a long table, that'd actually be pretty neat, right? It would actually look like a lot of data, which I can copy and paste this. I know it won't be as cool because it is repeated data, but so I don't want to actually let me go back. One more. All right. And let's actually take out, we don't want to repeat the header there. We want just the rows of data. So let's put the data there, and you save that, and now it looks like a nice long table. So you can kind of see how it is useful for when you're doing table data, but not so useful if you are doing previously people would use it to actually design and set up their website, which is not ideal. It is not the way to do things. You should never use this to kind of like say you wanted a website that has like an article with 3 sections. You know how you see different pages like that. You definitely don't want to use it for those, but if you're actually working with data, then sure. The interesting thing about this kind of stuff is there is actual cell spacing and cell padding that you can have on these things, which we could play around with. So let's say we wanted to add table, where's table? Table. And we wanted to add cell spacing equals 3. So now you see how that kind of jumped out a little bit, and there's cell padding, which you can also do this with margins and whatnot, but for the sake of using just the table code, you can do that right there, and see how they kind of space it out, makes it nice, a little bit neater to look at, which is great. And you can definitely play around with the numbers. You should pause the video, play around with these. So there's 5. Let's make it 10. So you have nice wide spacing. That actually looks kind of cool. Or you could add this, so kind of making it even. The other neat thing with tables is using spans. So there's row span and there's column span. Row spans actually goes up and down. Column span goes across because it's going across multiple span columns. So let's do an example. So I want Jon Favreau here, and I wanted to add in row span. There's our type it, and I want it to be, let's do 3. So I save it, and notice how this now spans across. There's 1, there's 2, and 3 rows. And then there's also col span, which let's go down to the bottom here, and we'll put it right here, and we'll do a column span. So we'll do col span equal, and we'll make this 2 because there's not that many to span across. But you notice how this goes all the way across. So say he was the actual actor and the director. So you save that, and then now you see that he is across both, and it looks good. And say Jon Favreau was in all 3 of those movies, you can go through and take out the other ones. I think it would be here. Do a little guesswork here, and here. So take those out. And now it looks like it's the original one. So Jon Favreau was a director of all these. I mean, obviously he wasn't, but if he was, he'd be the easy way to make your debut not look so boring, but also save on typing. So you always have the header. You can also do a background, which, so inside of our table here, we can actually type in BG color, and you can use whatever color that you want to. You could say burly wood. Save that. You're going to see that. Now, how did I know that? You can easily Google HTML color names. Like I Googled it, came up with this link, and there's a ton of color already pre-named. Or you can actually just use the actual hexadecimal number. You can, we'll actually dive more into that later when we're going through CSS, but be aware that they are there. So there is that, and then you can also add a caption. So let's say caption, and then you would to put this above the first row, and our caption would be these movies I love, or movies that I love, whatever you want. So that is like the caption for the table, or the name for the table. And we also want to take a look at border collapse, which is more of a CSS thing. The next couple examples are going to be CSS based. So we will probably go back over this later on, but be aware that it exists when we do more CSS. There is border collapse, which you can see it collapses all the borders that between the cells. There is also going to be padding, which you can use on your th in your the headers and your data. You can add padding between them. So let's say I wanted to add 30 picks between each of them. That would just make it big cell. So this CSS is the ideal way. Instead of using spacing and stuff, things like that, you would actually want to use padding inside them. You can align the text. So let's say for the same things, I wanted to align the text all the way to the right. So I could do text, align, right. And that would move all the text to the right side, and it would work the same as the left. Oh. So on the left side. So you could use that as well. And then there is border spacing. So let's say we wanted to add some boarding on our table. So we'll go up to the top. It doesn't really matter where you put these. The order doesn't matter. It's just, for me personally, like I like to start at the table, so then you can kind of read it like you're walking down on the page. So you start with table, you have table there, you know? So let's do table, and then inside table I do border spacing, and let's say 10 pixels. And since our border is collapsed, we can't use that, so let's do that. And let's see, let's say if it was 1 pixel. So you can see that is a small border, and 5 pixels, you see it get bigger. So that is, you know, the design is completely up to you. You can do what you want with it, play around with it, learn it. So then whenever it does come up, you are ready to roll. All right, that's enough on tables.